Hey guys, Jan here. Welcome back to The Present. In this channel, we share business, finance, and life-related content. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and don't forget to hit that bell icon. Setting a daily budget for ourselves is going to help us in terms of our financial status because, well, we all need money and we need money to transact every single day. We use money to pay for our transportation, we use money to pay for our rent, we use money to pay for our food, and so on and so forth. And so the common thing that we have to understand is we need to have a daily budget so that we know how much we are spending compared to the ratio that we have, or the ratio compared to the income. Okay, and so when we understand, okay, this is the only money that I can spend based on my income, it is very practical for you to understand this is how you should live based on the amount of money that you have in your wallet every single day. There are 5 things that we have to consider. The first thing is we have to understand your income stream. Now, maybe you have more than one income stream. Maybe for some people, for most people, they only have one, which is coming from their salary. They get money from their salary and that's going to be their income. However, there are also some people who have like side hustles that's also pouring money into their pocket, and that's a good thing. So the most important part first is we need to understand how much money that's actually coming in. For example, what you can do, if you have a piece of paper right now, write down how much you're earning from your job. Let's say put it 10,000, and then on the second one is, let's say you have a side hustle, you're earning an additional of like 5,000, so that's a total of 15,000 pesos every month. At least you have an idea that that's the amount that you're getting every single month. That's the first step. Know your income. Number 2 is you have to know your needed expenses. I really have to emphasize the word needed because there's a huge difference between needs and wants. When we say wants, those are the things that you aspire to have, but it's not really needed, right? An example of this is buying a new pairs of shoes every month is not needs, it's a want. If you want to buy a new gadget almost like every quarter, that's not a need, that's a want, okay? So the word that we have to understand here is needed. Common examples of this is like rent, your food, definitely. I mean, you can't survive without food and water. And then you also have your transportation because you have to get a transportation from your job from your house to your job, right? So these are the things that you really need to spend money on so that you can operate, okay? And so on your piece of paper right now, write the expenses. So if you have income a while ago, that's the first step. The second step right now is for you to write down all the needed expenses that you have so that you know how much is left. Number 3 is set aside savings. This is the ideal situation, but for some people it's not practical. That's why I asked you to write down your income and your needed expenses, because maybe for some people the needed expenses really is that they are the ones who's responsible for the medications of your family, and you're the person who's paying for the tuition of your sibling, and that is why we put first the needed expenses before the savings. The ideal formula really that everybody should follow is income minus savings equals expense. That means every time you earn money, you set aside savings first before expenses. However, for some people, it's just not practical for them because their income is super fit with the expenses, right? It's not even desire expenses or wants, it's just something that they need to spend their money on. So we understand that, and that is why if you can remove those wants and replace it with need, and if you have more money, then you have to set aside savings. Okay, so please apply that. But if it's impractical for you because of your situation with your family, then it's a unique situation, okay? But the most important thing is, as much as possible, set aside savings first. That's number 3. Number 4 is identify how much you need on a daily basis. Okay, this is one of the things that I do. After I get my income, I set aside savings, and then I know my expenses already, so I know for a fact, okay, I have enough money that I can set aside for savings because I'm not paying for any medication or something like that. And so when I have the expenses here, and then I know, okay, this is the number that I have. For example, for myself, transportation wise, and then the food wise, you can set aside budget on a daily basis, and then that's the amount that you're going to put in your pocket. Okay, so for example, you have a budget of 300 pesos every day. That's the amount that you need, right? That includes the food, that includes your transportation because it's far and things like that. And so that 300 pesos, that's the amount that you're going to put in your pocket on a daily basis, so that when you go to the mall, you're not going to feel like the desire to buy massive things or a lot of things because you only have 300 pesos in your pocket. Okay, that's a tactic, that's a strategy that you can do, and so far it's really effective for me, and it can be effective for you. Number 5 is stick to your budget. So Jen, it's so common, man. I mean, what do you mean? Like, come on. Yes, it's a common thing. It's easy for us to understand, but it's hard to do, especially if you know that you have money in your bank account, savings wise, or you can spend more. It's really hard to do because when you see the money, oh, I want to spend this and things like that. So you really have to stick to your budget. It all boils down to self-discipline. Some people cannot, like the word is cannot. Can is coming from the word capacity. They cannot stop themselves from buying that new thing, tasting that, going to that restaurant every payday. So this is where the philosophy should be put into actions. You have to stick to your budget. So guys, there are 5 things that we have to do in order for us to set our daily budget. Number 1 is you have to know the income stream. What's your income stream? Do you have 1 job? Do you have 2 jobs? Do you have a business? Do you have investments or whatever? The point is you have to understand first where your money is coming from. Number 2, identify your needed expenses. It's non-negotiable. You need to spend on it because it's going to allow you to operate. Number 3 is, as much as possible, set aside savings first. But for some people, you can't do that because you have a lot of things that you're responsible for. But as much as possible, set aside savings first. Number 4 is identify how much you need on a daily basis, and that's the amount that you're going to put in your pocket so that you won't feel the urge to buy more things in the mall because you know for a fact that you have a daily budget that you're sticking to, which leads us to the last one. You have to stick to your budget. It's easy to understand, it's easy to say, but it's very hard to do. So you really have to be disciplined enough to understand that this is the only budget that I have, and so I'm going to stick to this budget. If this video helped you out in any way, don't forget to like this video and leave your thoughts in the comment section. The most important part, again, is for you to subscribe and activate that bell icon so that every time we have new videos, you will get notified. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you on the next videos.